Fine. So let us discuss about educational intervention. As the name indicates, educational intervention. You know what? Education is talking about some sort of academic skills. Okay, it's talking about some sort of objectives which you teach. It is talking about some sort of teaching skills to the children, which you're going to plan in your intervention is nothing but a remediation, or you say a plan where you're going to impart to the children in the classroom as well as at home, or in the clinical setup as well. So in educational intervention, we are going to discuss as per your syllabus, that is your definition, scope and purpose, and principles of educational intervention. So these three things we are going to discuss in your unit 1.1. Okay, so before we move to the definition, first of all, we need to understand what is educational intervention. So it provides, it provides the student with learning disability. We are talking about the children with learning disability. It can be also implemented for other developmental delay as well. So educational intervention, it is nothing but a kind of support you're going to give to the child. It's a kind of teaching which you're going to uh, teach the children. It might be children with intellectual disability or learning disability or anything. And also, it is a part of your educational system. If you go to the school, you can see, you have a numerous plans. You have a IEP. IEP is equal to your educational intervention. You have remedial teaching is equal to your educational intervention. You have behavior modification plan that is also equal to intervention. So it will be there in the educational system, which we need to address, for the welfare of children with learning disability. And what kind of things you can address in that? A functional skills, academic skills, cognitive, behavior, social, which directly help the child with learning disability to help to success in the what do you say, in their growth and development. So that's why it plays a major role. That's why educational intervention, it's very very important in the field of education as well as in any educational system. So this is about educational intervention. It is very clear now. You all guys are in third semester. You would have prepared a lot of IEPs, remedial plans, and also you have taken the classroom teaching, so you know how and what to teach in the classroom. You need to plan. Okay, so now let us move to the definition. In definition, we will discuss about, okay, this definition is given by the Wright in 2012. He says that an educational or academic intervention. See, remember, education is equal to academics, okay? Any subject. It might be a mathematics, it might be a English, it might be a science, EVS, or any other. So that academic intervention is a strategy used to teach a new skills. If you want to teach a new skill, you need to prepare an educational intervention. Now here, as per his definition, he has mentioned that educational intervention is a kind of methodology or strategy to teach a new skill. Not only the new skills, even the old skills can also be incorporated into educational intervention to build the fluency in the skills and encourage a child to apply an existing skills what he have to the new situation or a setting. You have um, um, heard about the constructivism. Now, what is constructivism? It quite implies or replies with this educational intervention, like, you know, applying the past experience to the new setting. So that is your learning, that is your constructivism. So with the help of educational intervention, we can, apply the existing skills to the new, situation. Also, we can teach a new skills. So this definition is given by the Rights, and I will give you some references of the books. This I have taken from the C.D. Mercer. C.D. Mercer, you can say that is the book of learning disability. It's a foreign author. So I will share you that, all guys. You can check it out with those books. So this definition you can write in your examination as well. Now, let us move and understand what is the purpose. Now, why we need to understand the educational intervention? See, the purpose of educational intervention, it's very clear: to provide a safety and independence. Why you plan your IP, why you plan your remedial teaching plan, why you plan a classroom teaching, so that the child learns something, so the child can survive, so the child can become independent. Okay, it's not only with a learning disability, though I have quoted here a learning disability as per your syllabus, but it, almost all the developmental disability, it helps. That is the purpose why you plan educational intervention. That is the purpose why you make, that kind of document. So that has a major impact in the developing children with developmental disability, and also to support a student who are failing in various subjects. That's quite common. If you see in the, school, you may see some students are failing in one subject, two subjects. Sometime it will be very difficult, though they pass, or sometime it might be, very difficult. He get pressured and not able to write the exam. So that also can be catered. Those kind of needs also can be catered in educational intervention. And the next purpose is, it also helps to evaluate the outcome of the objective. Now, whatever the objective you take, see, for example, if you go to the classroom without a plan, without a lesson plan, just teach and come out, you may not have a document what kind of objective you have thought, or you know you cannot do immediately. So you need to have some document. Educational intervention is a document, so some document, so that you can evaluate even you come out of the class, or even you go out of the class maybe after 1 week, or maybe after 1 month. So you will have a data. So that's very important purpose. The outcome of the objective can be measured, and whatever you have selected, that can be measured with this educational intervention. So that's why it has a great impact in developing the children with learning disabilities. Now let us switch and understand what is scope. So yeah, scope here, um, can someone has, you just mute your audio, you can ask the doubt later if you have a doubt. Okay, so the scope. Now see, educational intervention, you know what is educational intervention, you have an idea what is educational intervention, you know what is the purpose of educational intervention. Now if you are learning this, so where is the scope, where you can apply this, from where does it comes? Okay, so we're going to discuss that now. As you can see, a varied instructional objective. Now when I say instructional objective, it might be your specific objective, it might be any activity, a task, a goal, or topic, or anything. Okay, it's almost the same. So various instructional objective act as a function of direct skill assessment. See, if you don't have an educational intervention, you cannot even, assess the child, the goal which you have selected. So it has a great scope in direct skill assessment. So whatever the skill, now for example, you go to the classroom, you have a number of objectives. You might be feeling very difficult to assess those particular contents which you have selected. But here, instructional objective means the objective, the one objective or sub-objective, that is your direct skill assessment. If I'm taking addition, that is a direct skill assessment, only addition. If I'm taking a interpersonal relationship, that is only I will assess, that is only I will do. Rather, preparing the formative assessment question paper or summative assessment question paper, which involves the different unit, different subjects. Here I'm going to just assess one skill against my child. That has a great scope if you implement or if you prepare educational intervention. That next one is, you know, variable entry point in curriculum. It has a great scope. Educational intervention has a great scope in entry point in curriculum. That is your, for example, you have you have a numerous, subjects, you have a numerous content in the curriculum. For example, if it is about a mathematics, so in mathematics you have a number concept, you have fractions, you have a, multiplication, you have algebra. There are a lot of, you know content, and under content you have a lot of sub contents. So educational intervention plays a major role against the learning disability to enter into the curriculum, select those particular points, select those particular content, and impart the training. So that's why it has a great impact. That's why it has a great scope. So these are the modalities. These are the various way how you can implement your educational intervention. And the third one is about your variable pacing. That means fitting the objective. Let us say you have selected an objective, an instructional objective, like double digit addition without carryover. So how that can be fit in the natural setting, where the child will be applying that, where the child will be using that if he learns that. Whereas why we are discussing here in educational in the scope, because educational intervention has a great scope to write that or to use that or to explore that or to show that double digit addition can be used in the in a supermarket. It can be used in the day-to-day activity. So how it can be generalized, that has a great impact, that you can involve in the educational intervention. Okay, now let us move to the fourth one, which is your active participation of learner in decision making. See, educational intervention, it's very clear whatever you want to teach the child, that only you are going to mention. So when you mention that particular objective, the child must know how to make the things better, or how the child will be using, how the child will be participating in a that's why it has a great scope. You can involve this educational intervention in different setting as well, so that the child can learn, so that the child can adapt, so the child can do their own problem solving, or he can learn some problem solving skills. That's why educational intervention is very important. Why we prepare education intervention? So that they have an active participation with different materials, with different methodologies, with different criteria, with different modalities of teaching. That's why education intervention has a great impact when you all guys prepare this for a particular child in the particular objective. And the next one is your a variety of instructional arrangement. As I said, you know, variety of arrangements, active participation, variety of modalities of teaching, child will learn better. You know, what is a special education? Special education is about all unique studies. It's all about unique methods. It's all about unique material you use. It's all about a unique teacher who use all these unique uh, factors or methodologies. So that is your special education. So as a special educator, you all guys must think over, you must, you know, mold yourself this, yes, I am a special educator and I must go with different modalities, the different ways of teaching. So if you understand this, then you can, you know, prepare the educational intervention very well. Now the last one is about your criterion reference evaluation of the learner. It has a great impact. Educational intervention, if you plan, it has great impact to evaluate the child's objective which you have selected, or objective which you have selected for the child. It is based on some criteria. Okay, I think you have prepared your IEP where you write 80%, 90%, or even 100%. You know, I want my child to develop this particular objective up to 100%. So that is your criteria where you will be evaluating that, where you will be using that 100% criteria as a reference to match whether my child has achieved that or not. You know, that is a criterion reference evaluation, how you do with the educational intervention. So if you have selected 100%, make sure that your child achieve or come near to that. Okay, that is your criteria where you match, where you know, see the reference which you have selected in your educational intervention. So that is about your scope of educational intervention. Now let us move and understand what are the different principles of educational intervention. This will be your last topic in Unit 1.1. Without say, you know, a special education has some principles. I think we have our own teaching philosophies. Well, my teaching philosophies is like, you know, a child center based on using principles of special education. This is my teaching philosophy. So everyone will have their own teaching philosophies. You must apply that when you teach. You must have some principles where you use in your educational or day-to-day, you know, activities, or day-to-day life. So that is important. That plays a major role when you teach. Whereas coming to the educational intervention given by C.D. Marker, he has you know, described around 6 principles. So we are going to discuss 6 principles, and we're going to understand in a short. We're not going to go in detail because it's not required in detail. You just understand. If you understand it completely, you can use it when you plan your educational intervention. Now here, the first principle is about a developmental timing. Now here, principle of developmental timing. Generally, educational intervention that begins earlier in the development and continues for the longer time has a great benefit to the student or a participant, okay, than which you begin later. For example, a child with learning disability have a difficulty in reading. You know that, and you start the intervention after, let us say, 5 months. Don't you think that he will lose the time? Don't you think that the child will be losing, you know, the pace which where you have missed? So, principles of developmental timing. Timing plays a major role when to prepare your educational intervention. That is very, very important. So, start preparing educational intervention on right time and continue for the longer for the benefit of the student. Then you will achieve in the, you know, what do you say, teaching the children with learning disability or any other developmental disability. So first principle has a great impact in timings. And the second one is about your program intensity. Now, principle of program intensity. Now, what do you understand by this program? Program is nothing but your educational intervention. Okay, we're talking about educational intervention. So program is equal to educational intervention. So let us see what is this. Program that are more intensive, educational intervention which are more intensive with the different numbers of settings, like your home, your number, for example, number of hours per day you take, or day per week, or how many week per year. So it has a great impact. See, producing the large positive effects than intensive intervention has a great impact in the developing the welfare of uh, against the welfare of person with a learning disability. It produces a greater positive impact if you have a intensive program, if you have intensive program developed for the children with learning disability. Okay, rather a less intensity. You must mention in the educational intervention that you know how many days I will teach, how many week I'm going to take, what kind of numbers you're going to involve, whether I'm going to visit a home. So this shows a program intensity. This shows the a complete package against the children with learning disability. And children and parent who participate in the educational intervention regularly, you can see a greater impact. The parents and the children must be a you know team in developing the educational intervention and involving directly and teaching the children or their children, so that they have a great impact in their objectives. Now let us move to the third principle, which is about a direct or intermediary. Now, what is this intermediary? Now, intermediary means your, like your mediator, um, mediating something. It's very clear. See, children receiving intervention that provides direct educational experience show a show a larger impact and more enduring benefit. Right? That's very clear. For example, if you leave the children to explore himself or herself, they will, they will have a great benefit. They will have a great impact. Rather, someone is telling the child, "No, you have to do in this way. How I do, what I do, you do." No, if the children left, they explore, they experiment, you can see a greater impact. You can see a greater benefit. You know, rather intermediary or some media intermediary might be a teacher, might be a parent, might be a or any other stakeholder who are teaching the children. For example, parent training only. Now, make the child learn, make the child explore himself, rather you know they you go and disturb the child or you teach. If the child has a direct impact, you can see a great result. If you have a mediator in between, now this is what I have learned, this is what you have learned, going to impact the child's learning. Okay, so that's about a principle of direct versus intermediary. Now let's move and understand the fourth principle. Now, what is the fourth principle here? What happened? Fourth principle tells you about principle of program, birth, and flexibility. Just hold on, yeah, principle of program breadth and flexibility. Now here, intervention that provides more comprehensive services. Now what is a comprehensive services? You have to understand. See, I think you have learned about the Bloom taxonomy, where it starts from applying to creative level, all 6 levels that you need to plan in the, your educational intervention, and use of multiple routes. Okay, so intervention that provides more comprehensive services, which you can apply a Bloom taxonomy. That means a bunch of knowledge. That means applying level, whether my child is at applying level, understanding level, creating level, or experimental level. So that multiple route enhance the child development. Rather just selecting the particular skills to the child. You must not narrow the program. You should have a broader impact, comprehensive, and with some flexibility. Then only your educational intervention program will flourish, will have a greater impact in developing the children with developmental delays. Okay. Then only, you remember I said in the beginning, the purpose is safety and independence that you are doing, that you're looking for with this educational intervention. When you plan educational intervention, make sure that you are making your child to move towards independence. Okay, so to move to the independence, you want a comprehensive services. To understand the comprehensive services, you need to understand the Bloom taxonomy of which involve the 6 levels, from analyzing to creating level. That is a bunch of the knowledge. That is a bunch of the skills, bunch of skills where your child wants to learn. Okay, so let us move to the fifth principle, which is about individual difference in the program benefits. Here, the program benefits is nothing but your educational benefits. So some children show a great benefit from the educational intervention, from the participation in the early educational intervention, than do other children. Some children may have benefit from, IEP or remedial teaching plans or any other plans. On some children, if you prepare, even though you prepare, they may not have a great benefit. So it depends upon the child's individual differences. Okay, it depends upon the child's individual difference, because if you prepare IEP for me it is not working, but for him it's working. So this is how you need to understand before you prepare the educational intervention for your child. Make sure that you understand the need, whether it's going to work or not, whether this is going to you know help the child or not. So that assessment you need to do as a special educator. As I said in the beginning, special educator is equal to special education is equal to unique teachers, unique material, unique learning things. Okay, so as a special educator, you need to assess the right things first before moving it. So such individual differences will appear when you assess or when you see the child and the child is at risk. So you need to understand the individual differences, which is very, very important in developing educational plan or educational intervention. That's about a principle of individual differences in program benefits. Now let us move to the last principle, which is your ecological domain and environmental maintenance of development. Without this, the principle cannot be completed, because you want some, environment to teach the concept. Without, if you have a plan, if you don't select the setting, if you don't select the environment, I don't think that it can be, successful. So over a time, the initial positive effect of educational intervention will diminish to the extent that there are no adequate environmental support to maintain the children's positive attitude, right? You have taught the child via educational intervention, but if you don't implement it properly, I don't think, if you don't give a proper environment to accept the things what you have taught, it's not going to work. because tomorrow the child is going to showcase those skills which you have taught via educational intervention in the society, in the community, okay, in the classroom. So that has a great impact. Ecological domain, it might be from home to the community. It can be any environmental. He has to maintain those skills which he has learned. Okay, so that is why ecological domain and educational maintenance is very, very important. So that's it about the sixth principle of educational intervention. I think we have 1 minute left. It will get disconnected. So I request you all guys, you can rejoin after 5 minutes. As I said, it is the basic version. So that we can take the doubts and then we can resume the other topic. Okay. So I think it will get disconnected automatically. We can log in now. Again after 5 minutes.